complete.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Alpha Centauri Let's Play. This is Northstar. I hope you folks are well. Hope you're taking care of each other. Um, my moods, my thoughts, they differ from video to video, from things that are going on in my life, conversations I've had, different developments in the world, and my own life. And on top of that, um, long COVID, which, disabled, and so there's good weeks, there's bad weeks with it. Uh, right now is maybe having a conversation with some family about what happened if the welfare systems I rely on are completely basically removed. It might be possible for me to survive if family members are willing to help me out, but it's not going to be easy. I don't know. I'm still trying to get this YouTube to be monetizable because I may need to leave the country if I face political persecution as a socialist, and that's likely, honestly. It's not guaranteed, but Trump has already whined about uh, communist judges or whatever he's saying. He just uses that as an insult. It's true. Um, yeah, so I've been doing a massive military buildup here, anyways. Deal with the Spartans. Hopefully, I'll be able to defeat them if a war breaks out. I've kind of stifled my economy with all the units I've been producing. The vast majority of my minerals are going to support costs now. It's only going to get worse. Trying to squeeze out here and there one or two, like, a colony pod reformer here and there to try and keep my economy growing a little, but it's not much. Yeah, I did have a conversation with a family member I was talking with about also conversations that I tried in politics, which is obvious because politics is why the welfare things. Explaining I am a Marxist, but not a Marxist-Leninist. I think Leninist ideas of democratic centralism will always lead to one-party state, and always eventually one-party state's not stable. Will lead to the collapse of said country, like the Soviet Union collapse. So it's not nothing inherent to socialism. Socialism can work, but you need multiple parties. Uh, Cuba is reformed to try and break up the power of their one party and create multiple competing socialist parties. So who knows? Maybe Cuba will be the home of the future. But they've moved away from Marxist Leninism to some degree. People call it revisionism, and they can go, well, screw themselves. Revisionism is become nothing but an insult. You got to be able to revise theories and develop them, and that doesn't mean a return to capitalism. But I know I'm outnumbered by all the socialists in the world who are Marxist-Leninists. There's social democrats aren't really socialists at all. They don't want to nationalize the means. They don't want to create workers' cooperatives or nationalize the largest corporations, which is what you have to do to be a socialist. Worker control the means of production. Can't leave it in the hands of private capital. And then you have, the Marxist-Leninists, and there's not much in between. But there's all sorts of other ideas, and I'm a democratic socialist. Chile might have gone the way my ideas would lead, but Chile was cooed by the United States almost as soon as Salvador Allende got elected, not like just a few years after. I never had a chance to fully develop where his ideas led. Cybersign and such, which is a more decentralized type of economic planning. Still technically central, but not in the way the Soviets did it. Probably would have worked better. It used a lot of computer technology, which does remind me of. It's interesting that planetary networks is the tech for planned economy in this game. It does imply that information technology can make, socialism work better. Although Inscriptions calls it basically a mixed market nonsense. I think that's just the devs. This little description can say a semi-market economy all at once, but it appears with the effects and the affinity of the free drones as really a socialist economy. And you can have market socialism, and technically semi-market doesn't mean non-socialist, because there's market socialism, which hasn't really ever been tried, but is a socialist system that still relies on markets. It's mostly just everything is worker cooperatives. I don't know. World's going to be going crazy directions. If the U.S. tears itself apart, China will probably rise to dominance, but China then collapses into the way the Soviet Union did into capitalism, then it'll be a multipolar world where there's no one clear strongest power, and I guess people are free to develop ideas, and humanity is not under the boot of just one empire, and that might be a good thing. But here, I'm going to be crushing the Spartans. This is probably going to become a unipolar world with the peacekeepers on top after they're dealt with. Although I probably won't. You can take submission of a faction. I probably won't. The do or die is not on. So if I just take the Spartans' last base, they'll reappear somewhere else on the map. Maybe like a little island here or something with just one colony pod and a scout patrol. But they still have all their tech, so it's a little stronger start than a true restart. Okay. Oh yeah. What else? Techs. So after I complete. Talking too long. 6 minutes. Sorry. After I complete planetary networks, I'll have a lot of probe teams. I'm going to steal. I've seen stuff that. Why did that go to the preference menu? You should be able to steal one tech from each enemy base, and the first time is supposedly always succeeds. That might be a difficulty thing. It might not be true on library. It might be people who are playing on lower difficulties. So we'll see if that's true or not. But you can steal at least 2 techs and Spartans if that is true, and even if it isn't, I'll take the chance of success. I know they have nonlinear mathematics because they talked about their impact rovers in a message before. So I'll pull the data link up on that. So they definitely have this, which I guess eventually it's a super string theory, but that requires cyber ethics as well, which I'll have planetary networks and not too far from intellectual integrity. I guess I may get that in a reasonable time. Interesting. Chaos Gun's the next best thing after you get missiles, which I think requires synthetic fossil fuels, which is a key tech. As I say, nuclear missiles after missile launchers. Misspoke, I think. Anyways, that requires gene splicing, which I can already do. Hydrogen chemistry, which requires industrial base first. The Spartans probably have done industrial base because they like things to give armor or weapon tech, so I'll see what I can steal from them. And then I've got one alien artifact that when I build a network node, probably in this base. Although, I shouldn't assume, just because I was thinking of doing it there. UN headquarters will soon have this tile, which means I'll have the same 7 energy, and only 5 pops. It might actually, the headquarters might exceed World Health Organization's energy output before long. This is eventually going to be a forest. Should be 2 energy. 4, 2, 2. So it'll be 8. But then they do have the offshore energy resource. 3, 2, 5. 7. Maybe. Could be either. There's a little inefficiency. World Health at high inefficiency levels, so. Or low efficiency ratings, rather. But I'm probably going to do more solar panels on this tile, too. So the headquarters probably have my highest energy output. Well, will it? No, because this could have a tidal harness. Yeah, probably World Health Organization. I was right about that. Because tidal harnesses. It'll take a little bit, but I can do those, I think, already, thanks to weather paradigm. Doesn't even have any prereqs, so it could always be done. Yep. Yippity uppers. So network node, 1 tech now in artifact, and yeah, I got my 2 projects. I don't think I'll be able to grab any other secret projects for quite a while, and I need the minerals for military. Here, soon be it neutral, just enough food to feed the pops. When this gets turned to a borehole and it loses 2 nutrients, so I'll have to, if I want to grow the city at the base and I want to be able to feed the pops after, I'll need another farm. So one of these rolling moist when they get a farm. And I could do a condenser so that the base doesn't sit nutrient neutral at size 3, which is not big. So maybe a condenser farm. Probably here, because there's more land tiles adjacent. Doesn't matter, it's all moist, flat tiles adjacent to either of them. This mineral resource will eventually raise up into land, and I'll probably have a base over here. Yeah. Just think these 2 tiles are probably going to be condenser farms, so I can get the base. Those each have 4 nutrients, so that I can have a nutrient surplus of +4 border agency eventually. Initially at size 3, just +2. Then it grows again +4. So that the base doesn't stagnate. And then I could throw up another condenser somewhere, just for the forest eventually overgrowing it, if I really wanted. Like I'm doing here. I've got 1 there, and 1 there, all to that purpose. Alright. This one's useless until it becomes rainy. It's only worth 1 nutrient right now, but it'll be 3 when it becomes rainy. So I complete this condenser. That'll be usable tile. Or valuable. Anyhow. Although, probably will work the other one first. Yeah. 3 nutrients and a mineral instead of 3 nutrients and energy. Switch off that forest tile, and then when it grows again, worth the other tile, maybe. If the forest grows into it, good. If not, anytime soon. Yeah. Eventually either destroy a condenser and reforest it, or do a farm. Maybe work with a supply crawler someday. We'll see. Supply crawlers can only bring in 1 resource type, so a flat tile with a condenser farm that's rainy, it's 4 nutrients and whatever energy or that would have been produced by tile is just lost. But you get to run a specialist instead, or work another tile, so that's a better, it's net positive in the trade-off. Alright, well, I don't see any bases that are about to grow. But I need to hurry. Everything's slowing down as bases get bigger, so they grow slower. Looks like the headquarters is the next one they'll actually grow. Or no, Mountain Command and then the HQ. And Ocean Institute. And World Food Program. Alright. Let's just end this.
Production complete.
Alright. And the more units that support, the slower production of new ones gets, so even that's slowing down. Oh, shoot. Shoot. If I switch off of this tile, which I'll need to do to grow the base again, I'll be running negative minerals and border agency. That's not good. How big will it be? -2. Shiza. That means I need to send 2 of these units to get support from other bases. Probably should not do the freshly trained. It needs to upgrade. Oh. That wasn't the unit that just produced. Shoot. Whoopsie daisy.
Turn complete. Production complete.
I guess I got a forest growth this time. Why did it not? What got a forest? Flat, rainy. I think it was that flat, rainy tile. Whatever. Just trying to select the brand new. Here we go. Green. There we go. I like to swear in other languages sometimes. Occasionally you hear me swear in German because I studied in high school. It always, when you're a teenager, is a way to get away with swearing without adults being like, you can't swear. So domineering when they do that. Whatever. This one got border agency support. Yep. Boom. Gotta pull 2 units minimum away. Do that because a hardened one, if this stack gets attacked, because there's 2 of them, I'd lose one of the disciplined because they can't disengage if there's more than 1 in a tile. The other one would be damaged, so I'd have the hardened one sweep through and deal with the mine worms, which should have to be on this tile. But yeah, I can pull some support from Hydrology Council and I think Monitoring Agency. I think I actually pulled support off of Monitoring Agency before, but that was so I could get this transport.
Request confirmation.
A little earlier. Alright, to have orders like that because sometimes they move when my plans change between turns, you know. Somewhere around here there's a mine worm that just, unless it was the one that showed up here earlier. Oh well. This is the beginning of the Great Dune Sea. Doesn't provide any bonuses, so it's purely for appearance. You can even put condensers and make the land no longer arid. It's just for map generation. It always starts off arid. You can make these dunes rainy if you want. Make the desert bloom. Ooh, nutrient resources in the middle of a desert. This almost certainly came from a Spartan scout patrol or something. Probably went through this. This is the planet neck, which I know provides bonus yields on the expansion. It's not listed, so I don't think in the base game. Pretty sure there's like +1 energy on these tiles. Could be wrong. It's been a while. Maybe it's just a resource that always generates there and it's not actually a tile. It's just like a... You can get random events that resources exhaust with random events on. You can also get new ones that generate out of nowhere.
Indigenous life
Darn it.
forms.
Had to happen after a... You know what? I can not only roll with that, I know how to Got other units on the river. Part of the reason I put them on the river is for mobility, so they could support each other if something like this happened. I do plan ahead. That's why my turns are so slow, is because I leave nothing to chance. I apologize they're so slow, but should tackle the one that have more moves after, so we can go elsewhere if need be. Should I? No, because it's so... If I need... Cause yeah, no, I should, because I might want to go up the river so it's not... I mean, it's tile on a... I mean, it's turn on a fungus tile, that'd be bad. $30 energy. Nice. Boom. Of course, it could have gotten damage and lost movement, but thankfully didn't happen. Failed to move. Oh well. Problem is, xenofungus gives wildlife double strength if they attack a unit in a fungus. I don't think they get a defense bonus from the tile, but they do get an offense. That also failed to move there. Oh well. And this is healing, so we can get second move back. Because there's still a mine worm around, unless that was the one that was here. No, it couldn't have gone there that quick. I don't think. Maybe it could have. I think that was a ram spawn from trying to enter the tile. Probably not the same boil I fought before. Alright. Occurs to me I had a unit here I could have guaranteed this thing got the move, but I guess I would have lost the chance to spawn my worms then. That tile. Which actually would have been a bad thing. Oh well. Mistakes made. I'll live with this one. It's not as bad as moving a unit that I didn't want to move. That's the kind of reason I save. But yeah, I know people are gonna hate what I said about if China collapses. I mean, I hope they don't. I hope if they the U.S. tears itself apart and China becomes the world power, it doesn't like go away the Soviet Union, because that would just be a second round of chaos right after the U.S. probably. For that to happen, the U.S. would have to tear itself apart first. Maybe partly through a war with China if it ends up in a stalemate that could destabilize the U.S. further. Oh, I didn't realize I put this on Sentry, but I'd like, why did that rover move along? It's because it had loaded into the transport. Well, I mean, I suppose if it was going to go with the transport, although I should unload it, because when it's when you activate it, it unloads, because when it's cargo, it can't defend. I think the transport defends first, which can be useful if I started producing like synth metal trance. Synth metal removed the non-combat debuff, and I think you can give trance without adding a mineral cost. Synth metal trance transports would be good against mine worms. Have them defend preferably. If transport gets attacked and dies, units in it don't automatically die unless they're like on water, and they have land units inside, obviously. Not sure what happens with units that have air units inside either, but ground transports, the units are just there. They might suffer collateral damage, I'm not sure, but they're still alive after. Can also, that's another potential use with the transports, especially I can just, once I prototype synth metal, I can just do the upgrade. I think it'll only be, if it doesn't add a mineral row, it should only cost 10 energy to make the upgrade. Because it's only adding 1 to the armor value, and it's not even adding a mineral. The way it is it, like the reason a laser squad costs 20 to upgrade is because the weapons value increases by 2, and there's no increase in the mineral row cost. Impact rovers cost 30 because you add 2 to the, from a recon rover, because you add 2 to the weapons value and 1 to the mineral row cost. I looked at the math before and tried to memorize what I could, unless I'm misremembering here, which is possible. But yeah, should only cost 10 energy to armor up these transports, which is dirt cheap. That's like 5 minerals on a facility. So I'll definitely want to do that once I have the tech. Which again, I'll probably steal from the Spartans rather than tech myself. It's probably much cheaper that way. Much cheaper. So yeah, I can rush this colony pod now, and they can load into the transport on the river, so that we get this far in this instead of this far. I think you can see the mouse. Instead of west of Alluvial Council, they'll only get to where that scout patrol is standing. But then there's a 2/3 chance the transport can get them to Alluvial Council on its move, and then it can unload and build the colony instantly. Of course, if I'd gone here, there'd be a guarantee of the colony pod be able to move there, and its move, but then it would have no movement left. Then, so it would arrive, it would build the base 1 turn later. If the transport fails, the colony pod can unload and do it as a backup. So it's a slight chance.
Request confirmation.
If I'd rushed this last turn, it would have guaranteed the base at the same time the transport allowed, but it would have paid extra. This saved me at least 1 energy. I think 3. It was 25, 10, 5. So I think this saved me 3 energy, but for a 1 in 3 chance of delaying a base by a turn. Might not have been ideal, actually, when I do the math in my head. Since I would have probably paid 9 energy for a guaranteed 1 turn on a base. Not sure if that's smart, but I probably would have been willing to do it. 1 turn earlier, that is. Yeah, when I think about that, that is kind of expensive. That's like 8. I mean, that's like 4.5 minerals. How long until a base is producing 4 minerals? That's like 30 years. So yeah, it would have taken like 30 years to pay for itself doing that. Maybe not a good investment compared to other ones. Military spending is out of the theory. I don't know whether this is the case until I have probe teams that the Spartans are stronger than me. Spending on the military now might save me a whole bunch of units from being overwhelmed or even losing bases they wouldn't have. You know, it's trying to keep up in the arms race. I could already be overdoing it. Spartans, a lot of their might comes from the fact they have impact units, but they might have like I might have 5 rovers for every 3 they have, and they'd still be rated above me. And yet, I would actually win in such a war because the rovers might attack and kill my rovers, but my rovers can attack and kill theirs at still very similar odds. Lasers against 1 defense versus impact weaponry against 1 defense. They'd have somewhat better odds, but not enough to make up for me outnumbering them. So I might already be able to win a war against them, but it would probably suffer catastrophic losses. Like, I currently have 27 recon rovers. I might lose like 25 of them to win a war. But in doing so, I might push the Spartans off this landmass, and that might be worth it. Wouldn't have to build any more rovers after that, except for exploration. Still, small investment could reduce my losses substantially. Based on where I think I'm in relative military strength, if I'm 10% stronger, I might suffer 30% less losses or something. Then I have more leftover units that can do exploration, deal with mine worms, and not have to replace them with scout patrols that cost minerals and are a little worse because they're not as mobile. Alright, so the colony pod's going to be done next turn. I need a unit in Hydrology Council to attack in these. This is healing. Oh, it has 2 moves now. I haven't seen my worms crawl out of the fungus there. Right, that recon rover will just sit in the base then. And this one, oh yeah, someone's got to defend the transport. Put defense. I'd probably rather use scout patrols for defense. Alright, I'll go here to scout out. Darn it, failed move. See if there's mine worms adjacent or something. Is the idea. Knew there was a chance of that failing. Oh well. Scout patrol defend that transport. I could load it actually, but that would mean that the transport would be on its own, so that'd be a dumb idea. Next turn I think I'll load it. I don't think that costs the movement. Could soak the movement to load a unit. I guess I should learn. But if it doesn't, the scout patrol can get here, have its full movement, and might be able to move on the river then. Scout out with the scout patrol. There's a tiny chance of the worm coming here and attacking the rover, but it would attack at 1/3 strength, so that would actually be 2-to-1 odds in favor of the rover anyhow. And the rover would be eligible to disengage if it goes poorly. Or even if it's winning, actually. Anyway, if it suffers 50% damage, even if the worm's an inch from death, it'll still disengage. Which point the scout patrol could finish off the worm, which would be on rocky terrain. I don't know if that provides a defense bonus, but be very weak at that point. Alright, transport here. It's carrying the farmers. That's right, because I intentionally load them up.
Terraform complete.
Yep. Had the former finish removing that. Good one to make sure it was the formers loaded and not the recon rover. Boom. Unload. And I just saved a former turn with a transport. Nice. It's not as useful as having more formers, but again, dual use, civilian and military. That's why I'm building the transports. Getting a little more mileage on my formers and colony pods, and a whole lot of military utility. And then I can pull damaged units back sometimes. Like rovers, they can't disengage if they attacked on the last turn. So let's say I manage to have a rover, a tile in front of the transports, tile for close to enemy. An enemy rover moves next to it. They could attack. the rover. If it has 50% of its health, fall back 1 tile, load it in the transport, and the transport can move it 1 tile further away. So that any other rovers in that stack wouldn't be able to come and chase it. That's just one example of the things they can do with transports. Of course, if it suffers enough damage, it won't have that move. Or if I have a transport stacked with the rover. Probe teams would be really useful, because to get this kind of thing done right, you need to know where the enemy stacks are. If they're too close, you know, you want to keep your distance or various things. Or you know, make an attack while they're stacked up because of collateral damage, so... Civil rights is producing all this energy. Some of what's coming is going to waste. The next growth would just add to labs, +1 to labs. It's worth noting it can eventually reduce inefficiency with children's creches. They add +1 efficiency because I guess your population is better educated. The creche represents everything from daycares to like high schools, I think. It's the whole education system of your base. A lot of infrastructure involved in a... Could even represent universities, though I doubt it's supposed to represent anything much beyond high school or middle school, elementary school, maybe. But some of your education system for sure. Alright, well, whatever else starts with a farm, I think. So I'll just start on that. All these farms in this area. It's because there's a lot of rolling terrain, not many flat tiles. Flat tiles I like to forest because I like to prioritize minerals over everything else, really, early on. Techs are good, but having more units is often better than having so higher tech. Up until a point, there's diminishing returns in numbers, but it's also for base infrastructure and colony pods and formers. If you're going all-out conqueror approach, you need more labs, because you can't spam units infinitely. If you're going all-out builder, you want labs just to get economic techs, but in a hybrid approach, you need enough minerals to both produce military units and to produce economic units. So you need a lot of minerals for a hybrid approach, because you're not going to go so heavy in military units that you see diminishing returns, because, like, you know, a stack will suffer collateral damage. So there's having twice as many units doesn't necessarily mean you're twice as strong. Part of the value of numbers is that some of my recon rovers will do reconnaissance. They're not all for fighting. Probe teams will help with that too, but I don't think I can spam enough before war happens to have complete intel. Some are out scouting, exploring, not even fighting. So yeah, or on, you know, duty protecting formers and such, along with the scout patrols. Using the rovers for it because they can gain experience, make them a lot more useful in a war. And they cost more than scout patrol. Of course, they build slower, so your support costs ramp up more slowly, and if I did scout patrols, I'd have even less minerals. Alright, so 2 formers there. 1 former here. Wish there was a way, like a view, where I could just select my formers, because that's what I'm interested in right now. I don't really care where anything else is at this particular moment. Just tell me where the formers are. Alright. WHO grows to size 7. They're going to lose their golden age. Should be able to grow size 9 without drone riots. They'll end up with 4 talents, 2 workers, and 3 drones. But might get a little worse. Bureaucracy drones might be up to 4 talents, 1 worker, 3 drones eventually. But don't have an easy way to keep the Golden Age up without spamming doctors, which is probably not cost effective. Oh well. It was nice while it lasted, the Golden Age. Population pressures mean people aren't living as well, I guess. Only so many jobs to go around. This is not a socialist economy yet. So wages probably go down as there's more workers relative to jobs. And human well-being. Plus, less living space too. Per person. Spaces are cramped. Thanks to the pressures of a frontier society and everything after being like hermetically sealed. It's kind of like living on the moon, except you don't need pressure suits and you won't die of depressurization, but the nitrates will still poison you if the air gets in from outside. 6 turns to growth. Anyways, finish the borehole. No eco damage unless I produce +1 minerals, which I think your first fungal pop happens instantly, even if your eco damage score is only 1. Just so you get the event right away and learn what fungal pops are if you're newer at the game, or maybe that's only on lower difficulties, who knows. I could force it, but it will disrupt my terraforming since it has to be near this base. So I'll save that when the base is about to grow, probably. Maybe that'll be a reason to do doctors at size 7, because I won't have as many good tiles to work. Useful, I almost said, but I'm sure I can pull up the fungus when it appears. What's under this? Flat, rainy. Flat, rainy. Both good tiles for forests. Though the forests grow there on their own over time. I kind of want to finish connecting the road network up. Condenser there. Oh. Move fungus there, that's easy. Can't do anything else until I do. Flat and rainy. Eventually a forest to grow in. Have to grow across this flat rainy tile first. Take a bit. Forests fill in the flatlands where I don't put boreholes. Solar panels there. Shoot, I do think I want to connect up the road network, because when they're... Because when the fungal pop happens, which will probably happen either when the base grows or before, when it grows it would have more mineral production. I only need to produce 1 more mineral to get eco damage here, it looks like. Like that won't do it. Oh, that won't. 2 more minerals. Well, either ways. I guess I could avoid it if I ran that tile. Delay the fungal pop. Might actually be worthwhile. Maybe I go here and plant a forest. Or a condenser. It is next to a rocky tile. I could make it into a rolling one. And this is rolling moist. Yeah, I could do a condenser, have a 3 nutrient tile if I need nutrients. Free up a rolling rainy tile for another farm mine, most likely. Mineral production defense command. Wonder if I shouldn't maybe switch to producing another ship. More ships here. I'm a little wary that 2 laser skim ships might not be enough. What? I'm gonna do rover here because it's actually closer to that. A transport here. It spans further away from the monolith, and I guess they're both 1 turn. It doesn't matter though. The transport could be used to rush around. Let's see. 3 turns till I need to move the former again. Could rush it. Bloody A. Nah. Strategic priorities. Do I want another skim ship so I can make contact with other factions sooner? Or transport so I can maybe rush some of these units south? Probably transport. The more I think about it, transport for sure. If I lose against the Spartans, it won't matter if I find, say, the university somewhere and trade texts with them. Road there. Connect my road network up and help rush units south. From up here, you know. In case the front with Sparta gets nasty, I'll need the road. If I have to keep replacing losses and saying units. If it gets to war of attrition, if it's closer match than I think. Well, yeah, I'm doing a condenser on this flatmost tile already. I was just thinking, do I want a condenser there? I was already working on it. I forgot because there was a scout on the tile. That's kind of funny. Kind of. I have a hardened rover here for some reason. Defense command. Hmm. I mean, Maritime Command. 90% sure. Let me double check this. That rover wasn't like produced a World Health Organization. It hasn't yet. Yeah, silent. Wish there was a way to flag units that have received their monolith upgrades already. Gets hard to keep track of when you have a lot of units. Yeah. Anyhow. I could do a road here and here. I could one turn rovers here more consistently. Just the thought. Hmm. Two, three, four, five. And move the scout into the city. Again, next turn I'll switch his support. I'll try and remember to. So I'll rush this as soon as I have 10 minerals. So 3 and then 2. Having complete the same turn the base grows to maintain the golden age, basically. So otherwise I'll have a drone. Not that I have to, but it also allows me to put the max amount of energy into the facility stuff. Buy the most minerals with our cheap. These facilities, it's always 2 energy to a mineral once you have the first row. Whoops. I had the rover loaded into the transport. Last unit would have wanted to load. Farmers, on the other hand. I'm about to learn if loading a that soaks movement. Probably not. Does not. Nice. So I can get the mine done this turn. Extra mineral. In which case this is gonna be. I can switch the support this turn. Next turn I can switch not yet. Probably this former, since it has to go through here to reach where I'm gonna Start another condenser over here. Planetary Trust. Get more minerals that way. Gets rubber done a little sooner. Turn sooner. It's going to be any... I'm worried I don't have enough units on the board of Sparta. I'd like to try and get anything that's going to be in a fight there right away. Or soon. Anyhow. Let's see, I just finished the one turn to build a road here with this farmer. One actual farmer turn. Say two, because can't do anything this turn. 2 turns there. The rolling moist tile is actually probably the next to improve anyhow. With a farm. To increase nutrient production and planetary trust. Instead of this forest, they'd work the farm. Could make a condenser farm. That would make this a rolling rainy tile. And these, they would have to be worked by different base. Probably based here on north of the monolith maybe someday. I don't know. Maybe if I raise the ocean up further out this way. Are trying to reduce overlap between bases a little. So bigger bases can... The point where I reach the level of tech and economic development where I can build big bases, you know, is less far down the line. So I like to crowd my early bases close together and then spread them a little further as I get more advanced. Closer to having hab complexes and eventually hab domes. And superformers, which make it quicker to terraform the tiles to be able to use all those pops. Interestingly, my next tech will allow the virtual world, which no one has started on. I'm not sure it's cost effective, even if I could get it. Costs 300. Makes my network nodes into hologram theaters. Which benefit all of World Health Organization and probably nowhere else for quite a while. I don't think I have any bases with high enough mineral output to rush towards a... Probably would build it, WHO. Oh, that would get in the way of units. I'd probably have to build up my headquarters. Yeah, probably not worth it. Two projects is enough. I gotta build military units. start moving the former this way. In case of trouble, Sparta. Won't have peace forever. Even if I'd like it. Try and go around the fungus. It ends here. I guess I want to know if it does. Nope, there's probably someone on this island though. It's got a little time till the transport falls, so. Closer I get to the shores, the more likely I'll find some unit. Some naval unit if they have any. Whoever's here. If I get next to the shore, I might find units on land. These are both over fairly deep ocean. It's like it's like 7,000 feet deep ocean. That's actually really deep. More than a mile deep water. It's 5,280 feet in a mile, I think. It's like 3.3 feet in a meter. Matters because ocean waves, you actually, I think it's actually a little taller in deeper water, although they actually get their tallest when those waves then come into, if the continental shelf rises up rapidly, or if the water gets showered just generally right next to land where deep ocean waves start coming into land, that's the tallest waves. But if you have an area that's like out at sea, it's shallow and it doesn't come all the way up to land. It's just kind of a large shallow area. Like I think the Mediterranean's a relatively shallow ocean, so its waves aren't as big as out in the Atlantic. Generally, if I remember, it's proportional both to how big the ocean is without being interrupted by land and how deep the water is, how big the waves tend to get. The deeper and the wider the ocean, the bigger the waves, but it's only a minor effect. With diminishing returns, if I remember. I only learned this because I was looking into, well, I did do oceanography a little bit once when I was in high school, but an ocean team, ocean science, both stuff. I actually didn't take an oceanography class, but they gave me an oceanography textbook to prep, as if I could just teach myself oceanography. It was too much material, but I was curious about rogue waves, which, by the way, are a real thing. So I tried to learn all I could about them and ended up learning how the maximum size of rogue waves varies with the size of ocean and how deep the water is and how that compares to normal wave height. Probably don't want to go into that tile this turn. Because if line worms spawn every direction. They do the scout patrol, defend it. The rover I might actually get away with one unit live. Racket. Oh, roll the dice.
Pod recovered.
Manufacturing supplies worth 100 energy. Okay, and I was working on a facility at the nearest base, so clearly it's not prevented by that one is not normally facility based. Alright, well, I gotta go now. I really have to go to the bathroom. The coffee's kicking in, so I wish you folks all the best. Take care of each other, be kind yourselves, and Me always find guy in Stardew Valley. I'm sorry I didn't get there more turns or whatever. I hope you enjoyed the video. I do. Best luck.